All right, today we are diving into a place that is just built on contradictions. I'm talking about Sham Shui Po. It is, without a doubt, one of Hong Kong's most energetic, most historic districts. You've got the past and the future, poverty and luxury, absolute chaos and cutting-edge tech all crashing into each other on every single street. So, yeah, let's unpack these paradoxes.
So, the first clue to what makes this place so fascinating, it's right there in the name, Sham Shui Po. Literally, it means deep water pier. You know, it paints this picture of a busy harbor, boats coming and going. But here's the twist. That connection to the sea, it's one of the first of many things that has been completely buried by modern Hong Kong.
And that really is the big question for us today, right? How did a place that's named for its harbor end up as this dense, landlocked, concrete jungle, packed with some of the most extreme contrasts you'll find anywhere in Hong Kong? Well, let's dig in and find out.
Okay, so let's start with the most basic, most fundamental paradox of all. It's geography. I mean, the name promises you a deep water pier, but if you walk through the district today, good luck finding it. All you're going to see is concrete. So how did an entire coastline just vanish? You have to understand, the scale of this transformation is just immense. We're talking about massive land reclamation projects throughout the 20th century that literally pushed the sea back. So that original coastline, and yeah, the very pier the district is named after, it's now buried kilometers inland. The Sham Shui Po that you and I see today, it's built on land that 100 years ago was just open water. It simply didn't exist. But of course, this brand new land didn't stay empty for long. Not at all. The district's modern identity was really forged right on top of it by these two incredibly powerful, almost opposing forces. On one hand, you have this deep, ancient history, and on the other, a sudden, devastating modern catastrophe. And this timeline, it's absolutely crucial to understanding the place. Get this, people have lived here for 2,000 years. We know that because of the discovery of a Han Dynasty tomb. Then, much later, during World War II, it was the site of a notorious Japanese prisoner of war camp. But the one event, the single most defining moment, that came in 1953, the Great Shek Kip Mei Fire.
Just let this number sink in for a second. 53,000. On Christmas night, 1953, a fire just tore through the squatter huts in Shek Kip Mei, which is part of Sham Shui Po. In a single night, 53,000 people were left homeless, with absolutely nothing.
But out of those ashes came this incredible turning point. The disaster was just so huge, so immense, that it forced the colonial government's hand. They had to do something. And that fire, it became the direct catalyst for Hong Kong's entire public housing program, a policy that was literally born from crisis and would go on to shape this district and all of Hong Kong for generations.
And you know what's really cool? You can still reach out and touch this history today. The Mayho House, it was one of those first H-shaped resettlement blocks, you know, the ones they built in a huge hurry back in 1954. It's still standing. Today, it's a youth hostel and a museum, a living, breathing monument to the event that created the Sham Shui Po we know.
So that whole history of rebuilding, it created this really unique economic engine. But what's happening today is that Sham Shui Po is kind of running on two speeds at once. You've got this brand new economy growing right alongside the old, gritty, industrial heart of the place.
Yeah, for most of its modern life, Sham Shui Po was the gritty, hardworking engine of Hong Kong's manufacturing boom. I mean, this was the heart of the textile and garment industry. It's still known as the city's wholesale capital. If you know Hong Kong, you know streets like Cheung Sha Wan Road for fashion or Yen Chao Street for fabrics. They're legendary. They're institutions. This is the industrial soul of the place. But then, look what's happening right now. A whole new engine is revving up. You've got the so-called Sham Shui Po Design District. You've got trendy cafes and little art galleries popping up all over Tainan Street. And what's really fascinating is how these two engines are actually connecting. Those old-school fabric shops, they're now the direct suppliers for a whole new generation of young, local fashion designers who are setting up their studios right there in the neighborhood. It's pretty amazing.
Now, this two-speed economy, it feels what might be the most jarring contradiction of all, an incredible wealth gap that you can literally see with your own eyes. This is a place where the rich and the poor live as neighbors, but they exist in completely different worlds.
So on one side, you had the fact that Sham Shui Po is still Hong Kong's poorest district. It's infamous for cage homes. And if you don't know, those are literally wire mesh cubicles, barely big enough for one person to lie down in. It's packed with these and other tiny, subdivided units. And yet, just a few blocks away, right on that newly reclaimed waterfront, You have these ultra-luxury high-rises with sweeping penthouse views. The social divide here, it's not just a statistic. It's literally written into the skyline.
And this inequality? It has direct physical consequences. Think about this. All those dense, old buildings, they create what's called a wall effect, and they trap the summer heat. This makes Sham Shui Po consistently one of the hottest places in the entire city. It's this urban heat island effect, and it just makes life unbearable for the most vulnerable residents, especially since so many of them can't afford air conditioning. All right, for our last section, let's zoom all the way in. Let's go right down to street level because that's where you can really feel the district's chaotic, contradictory pulse. And down here, you're going to find 3 completely different worlds all crashing into each other. First up, you've got the beautiful, glorious chaos of Aplu Street. It's this legendary open-air flea market, a total treasure hunt for anyone looking for a bargain. You can find literally everything here: secondhand electronics, tools, SIM cards, even super rare vintage audio equipment. It's loud, it's crowded, and it's just one of a kind. But then, you take just a few steps and you walk into a totally different universe. The Golden Computer Center. Look, this is no flea market. This is a high-tech mecca. It's this cramped, intense maze of tiny little shops, and it's an absolute pilgrimage site for gamers and PC builders. This place is the symbol of Hong Kong's really sophisticated do-it-yourself tech culture. So you'd think, okay, that's enough contrast for one district, right? But no. Amid all that noise, all the haggling over electronics and computer parts, another, completely unexpected identity emerges. Unbelievably, Sham Shui Po is a culinary hotspot. I'm not kidding. It was the original home of Tim Ho Wan. You know, the place that was famously the world's cheapest Michelin-starred restaurant, and it's home to other legendary spots like Kung Wo Bean Curd, which is also recommended by the Michelin Guide for its incredible tofu pudding. We're talking world-class food for just a few dollars. It's amazing. So that's Sham Shui Po in a nutshell. A district where a 2,000-year-old tomb can exist in the same space as a futuristic tech hub. A place where some of the city's poorest residents, living in cage homes, are literally in the shadow of multi-million-dollar luxury apartments. It's a place of extremes. And all of this, it leaves us with one final big question. As the trendy cafes and the new developments keep pushing in, as the old and the new collide with more and more force, can Hong Kong's most authentic, most chaotic, most contradictory district actually survive its own success? It's something to think about.